and slips up, and he calls her Leia, and the stormtrooper's like, "You just called her Leia," but then Obi-Wan like just brushes it off. But the stormtrooper already said that they're looking for Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were sent to look for a Jedi.
Like literally, like you have to be the dumbest. Right you have to be the dumbest people in the universe. Like I found exactly where the review started, just because I was waving my hands around. But anyway, I'm here with Ty. Ty, are you here?
I am here, baby.
Oh, dude, your mic quality is so good. Like sometimes when you go quiet, it goes quiet. But we are here with Ty Games. It's Fando and Ty Games reviewing Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3. Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's not even. I don't know what theme song is that our theme song from now on?
It might have to be. We might have to chop it up a little.
Okay. All right.
Maybe do like a chop and screwed version.
Okay. Sorry, dude. I am lost right now. Okay, there we go. Kenobi Episode 3. Okay. Kenobi Episode 3. This was, I will say there's a lot of moments in this episode, but...
yes, there is.
Ty, I think we might differ here, bro. I don't know if we agree on this episode. I think this is
it's funny because as I was watching it, even the first 2 episodes, I'm watching it like, what does Fando think? Mm-hmm. How can I trigger Fando with my opinion? But yeah. We'll have to get into it. But I like this episode, but I do have some issues. So
okay, that's where I'm at. I like this episode, but I do have some issues. I don't know if we agree on the same thing. It might be the difference between Last Jedi fans and like people who thought it sucked. But I guess we'll go through it. This is spoilers, by the way, guys. Spoilers. If I have to say it again, I swear to God.
If you haven't watched it, what are you doing?
What are you doing, bro?
What are you doing? There's nothing more important right now. There's not.
Don't watch anything else except Stranger Things, maybe. But other than that, this is the one.
This took priority over Stranger Things.
It did, because we're both a big Star Wars fan. But a lot of things happen in this episode, bro. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
This is probably one of the craziest episodes because they started doing things in the episode I did not expect this show to do at all, at all. Like I just didn't think they were gonna go to the places that they went in this episode, especially with the man himself, Vader.
They started off with him too. They picked right back up. Obi-Wan was trying to talk to Qui-Gon again, and you just start seeing Vader putting the uniform on. Man, it's iconic. People that don't watch Star Wars, they know who Darth Vader is. Yes,
exactly. And so, like Ty said, they basically start off with a full-fledged just like shot of Vader getting his armor together. And he's just in the show. He's a guy in the show, which I did not expect. Like I thought they would do more like flashbacky, like we're like passing by each other type things with this show. But nah, man, they went full fledged, and Vader's fully in it. Like he's fully in the show, and it's crazy to me. That one, I'm kind of torn about it, mostly because I like that. I kind of like it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this is gonna cause some issues for like continuity, maybe.
Yeah. So they started off showing him. I didn't expect to see this much of Vader, just like you said. Like, so I was like, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm cool with it. Like, I want to see Vader, because I think I had messaged you after you had watched it, and I was like, look, we're getting the version of Vader that we didn't get to see in the original trilogy. Like, we saw glimpses of it at the end of Rogue One, but we're getting like the badass person that everyone fears.
Yeah.
And he's just a different. He's not a Jedi, but like he's just a different person than he was when we saw him at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like
he's a force. Yeah, and they kind of continued what they did with Rogue One. Like I thought it was gonna be like Rogue One, like where you get to see him at the end for a bit, take out a squad, or like whatever it is, like the way they did Rogue One, but. Man, he's just full-fledged in it. And then I must say, everything that didn't have Vader fighting was great. But the actual encounter itself with Obi-Wan, it was kind of lacking for me. because in a couple different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but like him talking to Reva in the in the I guess hologram or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
him like his presence up until he meets up with Kenobi again is very well done. It's very
Yeah.
well
I
done. It gives
mean,
you a menacing vibe. It gives you the Vader vibe.
yeah, and I mean, he's talking to Reva, and again, we brought this up last week when we discussed episodes 1 and 2. Shameless plug, but guys, if you're interested, episode 1 and 2 on Fando's YouTube, go
On
watch
YouTube, right?
it.
Yeah.
But no, we talked about it where Reva had mentioned something in episodes 1 and 2 where she wants to get something that she's owed, and Vader brings that up at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
That he's been watching her, and so, and then she's talking to the Inquisitors, and he's like, I'm gonna get what I'm owed, and so are you. And she's like, I hope so. And it's like, what is her purpose? Why is she doing these things?
Right.
So I'm very interested in her character going forward.
Yeah, and I know she got some flack online for being black this week, but that kind of sucks. But I think she's doing a great job, especially this episode. Kind of brought a little bit more out of her. I think people just need to be patient and I don't know, just stop being
just
stupid.
let it develop.
Just stop being stupid.
Is part of the problem with it being released weekly is we don't know the whole story yet. Yeah. We have to wait, and I think people are impatient. So, like you said, just be patient, let it play out, see what happens.
No, and it's like that's why this episode is kind of weird to me, because it's like everything around the encounter felt like super high level quality, top tier movie stuff. And then when I see them meet in like a construction field, and then like the nerf to their powers, it seems like, or like I don't know. It just got silly. Oh, sorry. What did you want?
Well, before we even get to that, can we talk about how he broke someone's neck?
Who? Vader? Yeah.
Like he's walking through the town, force choking and dragging people, and he just snaps someone's neck.
Oh yeah, that was pretty awesome.
I was not expecting that. Like, that's that power, that anger, and that hate that we expect to see out of Vader, but I didn't expect to see someone get their neck snapped.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it's like I didn't think they would go that dark, huh? You're thinking about episode like the original trilogy, and then like this. And then there was a scene. Speaking of like kind of like unexpected violence, there's a scene where like a stormtrooper falls into like a fence with lasers and gets split in half. It just gets sliced in half, and I'm
which was really cool. And it almost really cool. Right, it almost made up for the fact that Obi-Wan could have just walked around that gate. Like it's funny because like he's panicking trying to like get it to open and turn off the lasers, but then they do an aerial shot, and it's like, well, dude, you could have just like walked right there.
Yeah. Okay. So the show has a lot of like weird, goofy. That's one of the drawbacks. It's like these weird, goofy little things that like make sense in like older style movies, right?
Right.
But in this, like when you look at this, like the scenery and like the set pieces, and like the show seems sophisticated, but then there's weird shit like Leia being able to escape the guards, and then there's like
or the guy running into the tree limb.
Yeah, the guy running into the tree limb, and then like, and that brings me back to the Vader stuff. There's like in that encounter with Obi-Wan, it wasn't as dramatic, like emotionally impacting as I thought it should be. That is just one. I think there was the fear side of it and the chase that was kind of interesting, but then like Obi-Wan kept escaping like in his weird kind of way. Like it's just a weird pattern to the fight. Like it was really edited.
Like he's standing there, Vader's like looking at him, and he lights his lightsaber, and then he runs away.
Yeah.
And it's like he runs away, and it's like it was weird how they shot it. Like I get it, like
I almost feel like they were doing.
It was just weird.
I almost feel like there was so much stuff that they did, like so many scenarios that they probably filmed for these scenes, that they kind of piecemealed a lot of different things, and it just came out looking silly at the end. Like
it looked a little choppy.
It looked a little weird, like oh, force choke Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan gets away and then runs behind a pillar or like a pile of, and you can see him right. They're like, bro, this guy can reshape the battlefield apparently. If he wanted to. Yeah,
it was almost like they didn't know how they wanted to start the fight.
Exactly, and then like definitely a downgrade in lightsaber dueling, especially when you see the original. Well, not I guess not the original fight, but like the prequel fight. And it's just like, I get it, Vader's more focused on the Force side of things, and like he can fight that way and slower. but it just seems like Disney's struggling with lightsaber fights in there.
So here's I slightly disagree with you.
Okay.
I will say that I expected a little bit more of a fight. Like that's the moment that I've wanted to see, right? Like that brawl. But one thing that I noticed during that lightsaber battle was Vader is just using one hand. Like that's the arrogance of Anakin Skywalker with his power, and he's going up against his old master who gave him the work in Revenge of the Sith, and he's just like one hand just wailing. Force pushes him, and granted, Obi-Wan's a little afraid, he's scared, there's so much emotion going through him, so he's not really like fighting, he's more defending. But it was just like, okay, this is a lot of raw power and arrogance out of Vader, Anakin. It was cool. It was cool. I like the idea of the visual of like a night lightsaber battle, but with
the setting was wrong to me. Like you choose this cheap like little area to do it in. Like the rest of the show is so like, you know, well done. Like with the set pieces, and I did not like that set piece for them. Like that's what you guys want to fight again, and it just looked really cheap and like not well done. Vader's armor looked good, and I will say this. It was really cool watching Obi-Wan ignite the saber at night and the blue glow. Like that looked really good to me. But
I'm not sure how I felt about lighting the fire and burning Obi-Wan. I wasn't really anticipating that, I guess. And I feel like, again, like we said, there's like these little weird moments of this series so far that like don't necessarily make sense or don't look good. And I feel like Obi-Wan definitely should have got like a lot more burnt than what he did, because he was laying.
I feel like there should have been permanent damage that you should have seen in the prequel. Like, see, that's another one of those technical goofy things. Like it's things I can let go of as long as like the payoffs and the writing is good. Overall, because I'm a story first person, right? But there's stuff like that, like where it's technically just super goofy that will ruin it for other people, not someone like me necessarily. But it just like the flow of the fight was just weird to me the whole time. Really it wasn't well choreographed. It wasn't well like, and you know I get what you're saying, but like I feel like they should this is a precious moment. You should like. It should have been the setting should have been somewhere a lot cooler, you know what I mean?
So and that's what I will say about that is I think there's going to be another fight.
I think he's more I'm convinced he's more reoccurring. Like he's a character in the show. Like
I think what's going to happen is we're going to get the Liam Neeson Qui-Gon Jinn cameo. And I think he's going to talk to him, and then I think there's going to be another battle, and it's going to be a little different. Like I think Obi-Wan is definitely going to be a little
that was
more
a pre-fight.
Confident. I think because there's no way they only showed that for the entire
I
series.
expect
There's
the next. I expect the next episode to be a flashback episode. I think at some point you're going to get a flashback, like maybe they do a mission together, and you're going to get that young, the Anakin and the what's his name, Christian Haydenson.
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christian Anakin. Yeah, my bad. Christian Hayden. But Hayden Christensen, like Anakin in a flashback. Like I think there's going to be a full episode dedicated. I'm not sure if it's the next one. But I did want to touch on what you said about like the fire thing. Like that was like something that as another example of what I'm saying. Like it's goofy. It's coming off goofy, and it's coming off like mustache twirling villain that would have worked in an older style movie. Yes,
that's a very good description.
It was like he lights it on fire. He's taking the time to do all these things. And then another technically goofy thing that I noticed in there was like, okay, his friend shoots. His friend distracts Vader. There's a fire in the middle. Like Vader could have totally force choked Obi-Wan through the fire and kept him there. Like there's no way if Vader wanted to, like he can walk through the flames with his force powers alone. And then like it's like that kind of stuff where I'm like, this is choreographed in a really goofy way, and it's just like why was he able to escape several times? You know, maybe if you showed him running with the force, like speed force running or something, like, and they're like moving super fast, like anime style. Or something. These kind of things would make sense, but it just looks like he you shot it like he just ran over there, and you can totally get him if you wanted to, but you're just letting him escape. You know what I mean? Like the villain like lets the guy escape type shit, and it's just kind of, there's some things that were technically goofy like that I didn't like.
So my thing with that is, like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? Like, I mentioned Vader fighting with one hand and having that arrogant side to him because he knows that power. It's almost like he's toying with his food at that point. Like, he's burning him, he's pushing him away, he's like, bring him to me. Like, it's like he's so confident that he can just destroy him at whim, but he's just got this hatred built up for Obi-Wan right now that it's like he doesn't want to make quick work of it. He, like, that's why he says your pain has only begun. Like, he wants to torture Obi-Wan and get his, like, payback. But one thing that I will say that we haven't brought up yet is, did you notice we actually got a look at Hayden Christensen, not as Vader?
Oh yeah. That dude in the hoodie.
Yeah, originally I didn't. I was like, who is that? Because I wasn't really like looking. But I rewatched it and I was like, oh shit! Like,
you didn't catch
Hayden.
that?
That's Hayden. I was like, let's go. So that was cool.
I totally think they're gonna have like the force mind battles at some point with the visions and stuff like that. But if you're gonna retcon something like that dramatically, right? And if you're gonna create a show surrounded around this, okay? I feel like the initial meeting should have been one on more of an emotional impact. It just didn't, I don't understand it. I didn't feel it. I felt like it should have been more.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%.
Like, it should have been this grand dramatic piece that, like, oh my god, like, look at the monster you've become. Like, you know, maybe talking it out more. And then if you are gonna have him have like a mini fight, make it like
more dialogue, more. I mean. The last time they fought, we got Revenge of the Sith with all that dialogue and build up and the score, the music with it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so Anakin, I know you're still in there. You know, like, this, it should have been like, oh, whoa, like, you know, like, I wanted music build up. I wanted like it's just this heartbreaking moment to see each other again, and like he's full Vader and you're like the one that failed him, and like I think the setting would have been more interesting in a different location too. Like maybe on a ship or both somewhere in space. I don't know. Something happening again, like where it makes sense where like they only get a brief encounter, right? So like, oh, there's a ticking time, or like, you know, ships falling apart. Something like these kind of dramatic set pieces matter, right? At least in my opinion. And like,
the good thing is they're not making us wait. Like, we're getting some substance. Like, we're not waiting 5-6 episodes for this encounter, so I expect to see more. I will be disappointed if we don't.
That's the only thing I can make up for it. Like, if you just have multiple encounters, or this is just like the show is really a chase, it's hard to. But what do you think about the retcon itself? Like, it's hard to think like, wait, you just met Princess Leia, you never knew she was your daughter. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of like throw me off about it.
Well, and it's funny you bring that up, because I was going to talk about that whole stormtrooper scene where Obi-Wan and Leia are running away, and we get a Seth Rogen cameo. Shout out to my twin.
Wait, we do?
He's the guy that's driving that little shuttle, the rat looking dude.
Oh, the mole man?
It was voiced by Seth Rogen.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's hilarious. That's funny.
So we see that, but like, again, that's one of those scenes where I have like minor issues with that don't really make sense. So they're talking to the stormtroopers and everything, and Obi-Wan slips up and he calls her Leia. And the stormtrooper's like, you just called her Leia. But then Obi-Wan like just brushes it off. But the stormtrooper already said that they're looking for Jedi. Okay. And they were sent to look for a Jedi.
Like, literally, like, you have to be the dumbest. You have to be the dumbest people in the universe. Like,
there's a little bit of conversation between Obi-Wan and Leia originally, and she's asking him about the Empire and everything, and he says, well, there's people like your father who are trying to make it better. So he's saying her father works for the Empire, right? So obviously the Empire would know what the name Leia is if her dad works for the Empire.
In my opinion, this is like a highly technologically advanced civilization. Do you guys not send out wanted posters with their faces on there? Like,
Obi-Wan everywhere. Like,
what is in the stormtrooper helmet to me? That's the other thing. Maybe it's a big galaxy. Maybe you're not getting things from the central command or whatever you call it. Do they not just like send information to your fucking helmet and just be like, hey, this is what they come from. This is the dude. This is the dude. Like his face, his jaw structure, all of it, facial recognition. Like our near future would think of stuff like this to do. I'm sure. Like, what do you do? Like, it's just. I guess they're torn between old Star Wars and like new era Star Wars.
Trying to make that blend, I guess.
Because that stuff would make sense in the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. Like the way that the style of movie it is, just because it's that time, and then like you transition to more modern style filming and technical aspects, and you have to think about these things. You have to like make it work in whatever. So I just need to decide what they want here. Like it's just like a fantasy, old timey fantasy adventure, or it's just like, hey, we're really trying to make a good, believable, dramatic piece, with Star Wars characters. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think so the rest of that scene like was weird for me because not only did you have that issue with the gate where they could have walked around it, but he just took out 4 stormtroopers with a blaster. He gets through the gate and then he stops for 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why are you trying to surrender, dude? You just took out 4. This is 3.
First of all, I just want to say this. I get it that Obi-Wan's been nerfed. Okay? I understand. But do you understand? This guy is like more powerful than 5 Jedi in his prime. You know what I mean? Like he took out General Grievous, which took out like 5 Jedi on his own.
Yes.
He took out the Chosen One, full power, like no holds barred.
Worked him.
I understand he's been nerfed, but this should be like we gotta send the most bad motherfuckers in the universe to get this dude. We got to get the Boba Fett's. We got to get fleets because this dude is that dude. The only one that can really hang with him is Vader, even if he's been nerfed. But it just seems like there's things like he struggles with carrying Leia. Like he's not using all his power sets as well. Like use the mind trick thing. It's your most famous move, bro.
We gotta see that. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Like, I just think
we have to see it.
I just think you have a budget this big. I think you should maintain like like Reva shouldn't stand a chance. I'm sorry. Like she's a cool character. Like she should be like dominant until she meets Obi-Wan and she's like, oh, this is why he's dangerous. This is like the man. He's like this is the chosen one killer. You know what I mean? Like
I'm very, very interested to see how they wrap all this up and lead us into A New Hope. Like I'm very interested, but
I'm wondering if there's going to be multiple seasons. To be honest, because I'm like, if they're willing to retcon like Vader chasing them this whole time.
Right.
I'm willing to think like, hey, if this show's popular enough, which it seems to be, that like that they could keep this going, bro. Like, and it might not end when Obi-Wan's like, like old man like meeting Luke for the first time. It might end like on a cliffhanger. Like, hey, do you want more? And like, yeah, we want more Vader. Fuck right. More, like, and just keep going like
forward. That. I do want to see some kind of like wrap up of the story and see how it ties in. I want to see some more Luke because I think you got to build that up a little bit if they're building Leia up so much.
Yeah. But then that would be a huge retcon, though. Like he starts going on adventures with Luke. That would be a huge retcon. Almost to the point where I have like a problem with it more than Luke.
I wouldn't say adventures with Luke, but just seeing more of Luke like inquiring about Kenobi because when you see him in A New Hope, like he knows who Ben Kenobi is. He's like, oh Ben, like he knows him, but we haven't seen that interaction. Like, so I would like to see something, but
maybe
I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky, but
no. One thing I do really like though is seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Like, I just don't want this to be the last time we see him like in the Star Wars universe. So I'm almost willing to keep that going, like just keep the show going because I like him so much as Obi-Wan, and it would just suck. Be like, this is the last thing you're ever gonna see Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan in ever, like this one mini series, and we have no reason to go back unless they decide to do like, hey, you know how we did the Star Wars Clone Wars animated TV show type thing, like unless we just want to remake that. with the Hayden Christensen and him,
Right,
and it just like actually just tells like a couple of season stories, just like on the best episodes, and just like yeah, like that era, and just like hey, why not? You know what I mean? I kind of that would be cool to me, but I again want them to leave this era. So
yeah, and I don't know. I want to see like although seeing Vader is really cool, like
yeah.
I do want to see Hayden more, so I thought it was cool that they had, the cloaked version of him that Obi-Wan saw. So I'm like, I want more of that. I want a better lightsaber battle. I want to see a different planet because I'm tired of seeing sand.
Yeah. Sand.
Yeah, but like I'm still optimistic. I'm still enjoying it. I'm not going to say that I'm upset with what they're doing. There's little things that I'm picking at. I definitely want to see the Emperor. I think it's a big missed opportunity if you don't show him at all, or at least hear him. Like you got to do something with him because you don't have Vader without the Emperor. Like
yeah, I mean, how long can James Earl Jones do the voice of Vader too? Like he's in his 90s right now. Like
yeah,
I understand if it doesn't continue because you're gonna want someone who sounds just like that. But I mean, overall, man, like what else? Is there anything else that how did the episode end again? He just escaped, right?
Reva captured Leia.
Reva did capture Leia.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I thought Leia was just gonna be like a 2-episode arc or something.
Yeah,
but like,
that's what I'm like.
It's another retcon.
I don't know. It's a bit excessive. Like I could have got with like.
Because it didn't seem like they
episodes of like Leia to like introduce Obi-Wan to her and like move the story forward, but like I don't need to keep seeing that.
You watched the original.
Other things.
You watched the original movie, right? It didn't seem like they had that close of a connection. Like you're just like y'all went through all this together. Y'all went through all this together, and then just like okay, you never mention it. So yeah, there are some like what do you call it, like canon stuff that just doesn't work with the show necessarily, but I'm not as mad at it. I'm more forgiving about like certain things just because certain things are executed well. You know what I mean? Vader's introduction is very well done to me.
Yeah, he's badass. I think we see a Qui-Gon Jinn cameo or voice maybe. I think we see another lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Okay.
I'm praying for Emperor because that's my favorite character. I hope we see something with him. But it's interesting because I'm watching you play this trailer.
Yeah.
And I'd say 95% of the shots that are in the trailer are from the first 2 or 3 episodes. So I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, that's another. How many episodes do they have left? 3?
3 episodes. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. Like, they're gonna have to start like getting to the final point, I guess, unless we have like some really long episodes on the final 2, maybe. I overall thought like most of this episode was good, and then even the encounter was they had some good parts. I just didn't like that overall.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still basically the show still has a plenty of opportunities to make me happy with how it's going. Like
I will say the nostalgia impact of it. Like I was very excited for the show to come out, right? So like these first couple episodes, I'm like, oh, it's so cool to see this, but that's wearing off a bit. Like it is still cool, but you still have to make it a good show. You can't rely entirely on the nostalgia to make this good. Like you have to deliver with what you're showing on screen.
100%. Well, anything else you want to say?
No, that's about it, man.
Nice and sweet. I really can't wait till episode 4. I'm gonna try to watch. I didn't realize the show's gonna air on Wednesday, so it's been hard to like, to like keep up with like doing the review. I'm gonna try to do the review as soon as possible, like Wednesday next week. Jeez, waiting 3 days. What is this? What is this, huh?
Saturday, 3 days, man. What are
pre Amazon era? I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. You know what I mean? But that's where we're gonna be for now, bro. I think that's it. You want to talk Stranger Things, man?